Governor Cuomo says hospitalizations are down slightly in New York today. So are things getting any easier for the healthcare workers trying to save New Yorkers' lives? We checked back in with 3 doctors to see how things have changed for them over the last 2 months.
It's getting worse. This war is going to take weeks, if not months.
When you first started your video diaries, the situation obviously seemed very dire. So compare that to now for us.
Our volumes overall have been much lower than they were even last week. And even outside of the emergency department, you can feel this gradual sense of persistent anxiety, but a gradual return to a possible new frame of normalcy.
The unit that I work in is a COVID quarantined critical care unit, highest acuity, sickest patients that we have in the health system right now.
We've learned about medications that we thought would work that we know now are not working. We've also learned of using convalescent plasma for people that have survived the virus to try to help people overcome the virus. So we're doing that now. Every day we learn new things and new medications, and trials are coming out to try to save lives and help fight the virus.
Well, what can I say? It's the end of the shift. Saturday, April 4th. Just a horrendous shift.
The biggest challenge was being able to communicate adequately with my patients and their families. It's hard enough to do to talk about difficult things like putting a relative on a ventilator and what their prognosis is like. It's even harder to do it when you're garbed in PPE, 3 and 4 layers deep.
No matter how many times I work a shift, the one thing that always comes to mind about this disease is how lonely it becomes. I was crushed emotionally. There was really no end in sight at the beginning of this. And that made it much difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Some people didn't make it today. And I guess that's just, we did our best. That's all I can say. It's not been a good day.
At what point would you say was probably the darkest part of this process for you?
Probably the worst part was being with folks who were seriously ill. And I could recall a few who were dying. And the last person that was with them when they died was me. Mm-hmm. And just trying to offer them solace and keep them connected with their families was difficult to do.
I have some tears and crying right now because I'm so tired. But I'm going to take a deep breath and keep going on. I think I just needed that, a little let down. But now I'm going to continue on and powering through back into the unit.
Healthcare workers and hospital employees will definitely come out of this stronger. We've been to war. We've been to war together. We've been to war supporting each other. We've emotionally broken down together and lifted each other up. We will definitely be stronger after this, more united after this. Nothing could go back to normal after seeing what we've seen and been through together.
President Trump is in Arizona for his first major trip during the coronavirus pandemic. The president is visiting a facility that's manufacturing N95 masks. NBC News political reporter Vaughn Hilliard is joining me now. And Vaughn, tell us a little bit more about the president's visit today.
He's only going to be on the ground here for just a little bit longer, Allison. A trip that looks like it's going to last about 3 hours here. This is his first major trip outside of Washington, D.C. since March 28th, Allison. He comes here on we should note, 103-degree day to go and tour that Honeywell facility, which says that it's beginning to ramp up operations to produce millions of N95 masks. He also met up with tribal leaders. You saw him come off of the Air Force One just a bit ago, flanked by Republican Senator Martha McSally, as well as Congresswoman Debbie Lesko and Congressman Paul Gosar of Arizona. None of those individuals were wearing masks. They were met by a Republican governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, there on the tarmac. This is still going underway. He was just answering questions before you and I began to speak. Allison. For the president, this is an opportunity for him to get outside of Washington, D.C., address COVID-19, but at, frankly, a very perilous time. We are now in May, Allison, and COVID-19 continues to spread across the country, including here through Arizona.
Vaughn, can you tell us a little bit more about the precautions the president took during the trip while he was there on his way? What do we know about how he sort of prepped to be safe while he was there?
The White House says that everybody that traveled with the president was tested this morning for COVID-19, including the president, and that everybody traveling with him is negative. To note, they walked off without masks on. The president appeared to attempt to shake the hand of Governor Doug Ducey, and it turned more into a backslap. Not as much social distancing taking place there. And frankly, we moved live shot locations earlier today, Allison, because there were supporters of the president that were out there across from the airport that had little respect for social distancing and a lack of mask use. Of course, you saw Vice President Pence last week cause ire among many when he chose to not wear a mask. And so far, you've seen the same at this moment from the president here in Phoenix.
Vaughn, President Trump visited Arizona back in February. Here's what he said then about the coronavirus.
I think it's going to work out fine. I think when we get into April and the warmer weather, that has a very negative effect on that and that type of a virus. So let's see what happens, but I think it's going to work out fine.
The reality,
Vaughn, today
Allison,
Arizona
is that
reported
it's
its
been over
highest
100
daily death toll. No, go on.
No, you were saying it. The highest daily death toll here just yesterday was announced by the state. While the president was on Air Force One flying in here to Phoenix, there were 33 deaths yesterday, an indication that COVID is far from being gone here in the state of Arizona. We should note, just a little bit more than 1% of Arizonans have been tested as well. Of course, you're dealing with the hotspot up at the Navajo Nation, but you're dealing with the greater Phoenix population of more than 5 million. We're now here into May. It's been over 100 degrees for more than a week at this point. Across the world over in Ecuador, they've also seen high temperatures into the 90s as their cases have increased. That's the concern. Of course, the hope was that, the sunlight and the warmth would help stymie the virus's spread, and perhaps it has. At the same time, as you continue to see businesses open up here in the state of Arizona just yesterday, Governor Doug Ducey announced by week's end that most retail will be open, and then on Monday, dine-in service will begin at restaurants across the state. You're seeing those realities collide with the fact that just last week you had more than 1,300 tests positive in Arizona and the highest daily death toll. So these two are not colliding very well together and causing a lot of concern as to the future of COVID-19.
Vaughn, NBC News has confirmed that the White House coronavirus task force is in the early stages of winding down. That's according to two officials familiar with the matter. The number of total cases in the U.S. has now passed the 70,000 mark. Do we have a sense of why the president is winding his task force down now?
The president, I'll quote the president himself just a few moments ago. He said, quote, "I'm viewing our great citizens of this country as warriors. We can't keep our country closed. We have to open our country. Will some people be affected? Yes." He went on to say, but we have to get our country open and get it open soon. This is a president who is intent on, as he says, reopening the American economy. And to note, just here in the state of Arizona, for instance, Allison, more than 500,000 Arizonans have filed for unemployment claims since this started. So the president is concerned clearly about the fate of the U.S. economy and workers from the East Coast to the West Coast. At the same time, you talked about the disbanding of the coronavirus task force. The White House has pushed back, saying that Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci would continue on being engaged at the White House. Yet, as the president said just a few moments ago, he's looking to create a new group. That group, the idea is to focus more on the future of the American economy. Of course, as we've been saying, the number of COVID cases across the United States continues to expand, including right here in the likes of Phoenix, where the president is presently. So while the president wants to open up American business, he's also dealing with the reality that COVID-19 is not yet gone away.
Vaughn, we know politics are at play here as well. We are 6 months from the general election. The president's visit coming after his advisors reportedly gave him internal polling showing he's lagging behind Joe Biden in key battleground states. Could you just talk to us a little bit about the political significance of this trip as well?
Allison, the president needs to win Arizona to hold the White House. That is a very, very, very likely reality. Arizona, we should note, in 2016, he won it by just 3.5 percentage points. In 2018, Democrat Kyrsten Sinema beat Martha McSally, the Republican, for the U.S. Senate. This is a place where Martha McSally is not only up for election now after she was appointed, but now she is facing Mark Kelly, a strong Democratic challenger. For the president of the United States, there's a reason he is here today. And we, as you said, are now less than 6 months away. If let's just say the Democrats win Pennsylvania, win back Michigan again, all of the Democrats, all Joe Biden would need to do would be the state of Wisconsin or Arizona. This is a place where Democrats feel like they have an opportunity to do well. And when I mentioned 500,000 unemployment claims. This is a place of heightened concern because of the impact and the toll not only the virus has had health-wise, but also on the economy here. The president needs to shore up that support. Democrats feel like they have an opportunity here. Allison?
Vaughn Hilliard, always great to see you. Thank you for your reporting and stay safe, my friend.
Thanks, my friend.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.